and start it off. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to your big, bold, beautiful life planner. Um, I just kind of got inspired to do this because I just feel as if, we've all kind of been at the effect of the pandemic for the summertime, and it's good time. Like, it's interesting because the even the stars are aligning. Last night was a new moon, and it's a great time to get clear on what it is that you want to manifest next in your life. And I also feel like we've been at the effect of this for so long that it's time. It kind of reminds me like when you're out, and Christy will relate, when you're boogie boarding or something in the ocean, and a wave comes and it kind of takes you out, and you're kind of upside down, and you're all kilter trying to figure out which way is up, and then you get to that moment where you're like, oh, wait a second, I can stand up. You stand up, you're still gasping, but it's like you're also exhilarated at the same time. So that's the space that I would like to invite us to consider right now is amidst all the change, all the uncertainty, and a lot of you have been on calls with me before talking in terms of the divine feminine shift that's happening right now. One of the attributes of that is really coming to a space of where we source our confidence in from a different place, because no longer is there going to be the normal guideposts out externally from where we are. And so it's time for us to go within, get really clear about what's important to us, what our values are, and what our core like target energies would be that we want to step into next. The new normal is, there's not going to be a normal, I'm just calling it like the new now. Like, what can we find right now? So it's hard sometimes to think about stretching your vision out to like, what would a big, bold, beautiful life feel like right now when we feel so pinned down? But I think it's super essential, and I'm so glad that you took the time out to plug into this, because I truly believe it's a time for us to get really intentional with like energy mastery. So we want to create the vision of what we want to experience next in our lives. And that asking it is given is happening all the time. Create that big vision, and then create your own little guideposts of what's possible from where we are. Start with where you are right now. What can we plug into to attain that high vibration thing, so that when we're asking, the universe can give it to us from a high vibration receiving point, if you will. So that's what the intention is for today. It's just a 90-minute. And again, this is probably nothing new. You guys are all very experienced, time and space travelers, if you will. I know you've got lots of tools. So what this is intended to do is, from the perspective that we are right now in time, is go back through some of these familiar practices, and you'll see there's a whole new perspective and some new answers, some new quests, some new desires that will be revealed today that are super powerful to presence, and weave that into the story of what your big, bold, beautiful life looks like. So again, just to kind of presence, I love this. Dear 2020, none of this shit was on my vision board. And yet, is it still, can we get to the space of what was it that we were really asking for? We're looking for higher consciousness, and sometimes transition just isn't as comfortable as we might like. So can we also embrace that? I like to think of it, I'm a big metaphor lady. So the metaphor of a snake that's shedding its skin, it takes a little bit of friction, and sometimes a lot of friction, to kind of wiggle out of that thing. And at the same time, what if it could just lift away intact, and we can slither off? This was a quote that I ran across. I always love this one. Tired of trying to cram her sparkly star-shaped self into society's beige square holes, she chose to embrace her ridiculous awesomeness and shine like the freaking supernova she was meant to be. So I'd like to invite you to be a supernova today. And I chose to rewrite this a little bit. Tired of trying to cram herself into the her sparkly star-shaped self into society's storyline of pandemic, separation, scarcity, and fear. She chose to embrace her ridiculous awesomeness and shine like the freaking supernova she was meant to be. So she chose to live, love, and matter. This is another quote, Paulo Coelho. that I just love, because oftentimes I love coming together in these groups and facilitating like this, because like I said, you guys have so many tools, and it's not so much about gaining more information. It's about inviting this kind of journey. Maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so you can become the you were meant to be in the first place. So one of the things through the contrast and things is like, okay, what are the big bold proclamations you can make? So when I ran across that quote the other day, I decided this is the title I'm choosing for myself. I am a supernova maker. And so I invite you into that space today. Wanted to start after we did our little dance party. Now, again, this is something that those of you who've been on with me before know that I love the heart coherence techniques from Heart Math. It's time in all the angst that's going on around us to ground in some practices. And I know that you guys have a plethora of tools that you take for yourself, but just a reminder to use the tools that we have at hand. So I'd like to invite us to do a little heart coherence. I love this from Heart Math, because the organization is putting science around some of the things that the ancients or the ancient wisdoms have known about the necessity to ground and just center. So anyways, if you'll just sit up and close your eyes, start taking some nice deep breaths, breathing into your heart space. With each deep breath, maybe even putting your hand there so the focus can amplify. Think about what supernova means to you, what it would feel like to have your effing joy back again. What brings you joy? What lights you up? With each breath, expanding, allowing your heart space to fill up, to spill over, presencing joy, love, connection. So much gratitude for being here and being together to create this space today. So awesome. And I love when we're talking in terms of getting intentional to deliberately create the life that we want. Heart Math puts this information to us in some numbers that are, when they talk in terms of the heart versus coming from the mind, which a lot of times, especially when things are falling apart, it's easy to go into the mind space and try to get logical and rational to figure things out. So consider this, that the heart space is actually 60 times stronger electrically and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. So when we talk in terms of attracting things, we want to always, you can think about, rationalize what it is that what you want in your life, but the key is to bring that into the heart space so that we can amplify that intention of what it is that we want to bring to our lives. So that's super powerful. Here's kind of a 3-phase process that I take because I do emotional release work, and which I love, because I believe it's the biggest thing that we're missing when we're talking about manifesting things, is that we need to go back and think about all the limiting thoughts, the beliefs, the trapped emotions, the old storylines that are still ticking around in our subconscious. So if we've got 90% of our magnifying power is actually in that subconscious versus the 10% that we're using from a conscious level, it's so imperative that we take the time to go back, and once we've set the vision, go back and release those things that aren't vibrationally compatible with the vision that we want to step into. So when you think about your big, bold, beautiful life and what that might look like, and the you that you would have to be to step into having that, you want to be vibrationally compatible with that. What are some of the old garbage things? Like we've all got it. We've got, and over time we've gathered quite a lot. And these days we're being empathic. We're picking up everybody else's poop that's floating around. We really need to create the practices to go in and release this stuff. So this is kind of the trifecta that I take people through of getting clear on the vision, which is what we're doing today, releasing. Once you get clear, it's like, okay, now I recognize I've got this old story, and who doesn't these days, about not feeling worthy or not feeling deserving, or who am I to step into this big, bold, beautiful future me. Actually just release those things that don't relate, so that we can be in the place to attract it in. And then the third here is to tune in and nourish. So now we've got the future self pretty clear here. We've got where we are, and as we begin to nourish, continually tuning into the vibration of the vision we want to step into, but creating the habits, creating the rituals that continually attune us day by day and celebrate. That's something that sometimes we're not really good about, is celebrating the ways in which it's showing up already. Some of you have been through La Femme Salon, and hello. But you know that one of our affirmations is, it's happening. So every day, it's so crucial for us to tap in and celebrate those times of ways in which it's happening, because it really is showing up. Our brain actually has a negativity bias by design to keep us safe. So when you're, a cave woman days and the saber-toothed tiger's coming along, you definitely want to be able to quickly get to, okay, what's the worst case scenario here? That the secret, whoops, I think we got somebody who's not muted. I'm gonna find. All right. Awesome. So yeah. So here's the 3 steps. Get crystal clear and fully charged vision, what it is that you'd like to create next. Release what no longer serves you, what isn't aligned with that vision, and then move forward with inspired action, laced with self-love, self-compassion, and loads of nourishing self-care. Yeah, so what was I going to say? Move forward. So we're taking baby steps every day and celebrating the ways in which it's showing up. But it's so crucial, guys. There's so much that we're at the effect of right now. So much contrast in the world, and so much diversity or separation in the world, with people pointing the fingers at each other. I truly believe that everything out there is inviting us to use those same disturbances and look within, ultimately grounding and coming to a higher state of self-love. It's not easy right now, which is great, because before the it's almost like the chaos before the next wave of creation. So can we get to the place where sometimes we can actually be in that space when we're feeling depressed, when we're feeling alone, when we're feeling like we're not stepping into our potential? Can we embrace those moments, knowing that we are on our way? And you can't get that sense of satisfaction unless you know where it is that you'd like to go. So that's what we're here for. And the next step is to figure out why my slide isn't advancing. Da, 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 da. Come on, baby. Whoop. All right. Yeah, so just quickly, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is some of the things we'll dive deep into when we do La Femme Salon. But we're in this evolution, this time, the tides are shifting from the divine feminine way of, from the masculine way of being to this divine feminine way of being. So whereas the masculine, up until now, the mindset, and gosh, we're getting a lot of this right now, aren't we? The mindset rooted in lack, fear, and protection, as if there's limited resources. So I'm inviting you today and in the future to step into a mindset rooted in abundance, love, and openness. And it's interesting just saying those words, say them to yourself, and feel your body, feel how it reacts to those words of abundance, love, and openness. Because truly, words and emotions each have a unique vibration. And when we can concentrate more on those higher vibration words, it actually opens up our bodies, it opens up our heart. And again, we're activating from being able to attract from that heart space, which is 5,000 times stronger than the mindset space, which is trying to keep us safe. So the next here is competition, looking to win, looking to be number one. now the new way of being in the feminine world is one of collaboration. It seeks to find a win-win. So women in particular like to come together to work in unison with one another. And I think it's so important right now, especially as we're feeling so separate and alone, to come together and find connection there. The old masculine way is a logical, linear, thinking it through, trying to get the right answer. Uh, know that one pretty well as a recovering perfectionist myself. The new way is to tap within, go find our intuition, that GPS from within, follow the guidance and what feels light. When I say what feels light, I'm talking again about listening to the body, allowing the body to almost be the intermediary between what it is, almost like that we're these spiritual beings having a human moment. Remember that we're actually more that divine essential self than we are this physical self. So tapping in and knowing that there's somebody that loves us so much that can already has this big perspective of who we are meant to be, the potential that we have within. And remember to tap into her every day. She is calm, she is wise, she is grounded, she has foresight, she's compassionate, she loves you because she knows who you are and what you're up to. So it's so important for us to tap into that regularly and then follow the guidance. Listen, we've got all this time to, all the doingness has been dialed down for us because of this pandemic. So take advantage of that time and really create a couple times touch points over the course of the day, even if it's 5 minutes at a time, to tap in, just breathe. I've been this week, my challenge to myself is to be doing, I'm sure you've heard of Louise Hay, the mirror work that she was about, where you just sit into the mirror, looking into your eyes. And for me, the practice that I'm doing right now is just to see yourself fully, but I'm immersing myself in unconditional love and then radiating that out to the world, because I kind of think the world could use that right about now. So just, you can do any kind of practice. And again, I know you ladies are already well traveled in these cycles, so in this kind of work. So dust off some of those practices, and if you can, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, and build upon that. Super important to keep us grounded and less at the effect of the craziness that's going on around us. Moving on, the certainty in the old masculine way was certainty coming from knowing the plan and seeing all the steps. And again, I'm super grounded in that as an event planner in the past, where you could see all the pieces and you knew, such and such was going to happen by this time, and you had all the parts to be able to lay out. Right now, especially with all the uncertainty going on, it's time for us to get comfortable in the uncertainty. And this is the key, is to be able to act, like take those first steps before the way is clear. And I would even expound that to say, before we even know that what we're taking a step towards is even possible, that it can work, that we're capable of doing it. And just know, I love the saying about when you take a step, Providence moves in to assist you. So what can you dare to dream and take that step, knowing that once you do, the universe is ready to support you with infinite resources. So the next over here is, again, trying to be in control of situations. Type A personalities, for sure, we love having that control, knowing that we're capable and strong. But right now, as it's kind of fall apart, it's kind of out of control time. So just trusting that regardless of what's going on the outside, everything is unfolding just as it should. And actually, what if the universe is actually conspiring to help you? So sometimes it's not always easy to sit in that question with a looking externally. So that's, again, why it's important to go within. Here, struggles to change the outer circumstances, as in like fighting against what is, or I like to say even fighting against what was. So sometimes there's that great saying too about, maybe it's not time to fix the old things that are broken. Maybe it's time to create something entirely new. So this is, again, the divine feminine equivalent or invitation here is to initiate transformation from within and out-create anything that was up until now. So instead of trying to fix those old parts of you or those old pieces of your life that weren't fixing, it's like, What if we're repacking, we're going on a journey, we're getting on a jet ship or a rocket ship right now, what are the pieces that you would unpack? Like, let's leave that behind. I love the terms that have come up during the pandemic of the essential and the non-essential. Like, what now would you say is non-essential? You're packing light so that you can get on the rocket ship, because we're got to go light so that we can break through the atmosphere of the old gravity that kept us in this smaller world, if you will. So going it down to the masculine way is being victimized and almost having a worldview like life is happening to me, like, oh, why me again? You know, all those disempowering questions and feeling as if we can't do anything. Actually turning that around to know, again, similarly, like we spoke before, of being supported, like life is happening for me. Here's one that I gave up last year, and I don't miss it at all. the old masculine way of being busy, busy, busy. It felt like up until last year, or up until March of this year, really, that we had the busy badge, and we were kind of like putting on our success hat based on how are you doing? Oh, I'm busy, busy, busy. But working hard externally to make it happen is almost like a way of trying to prove your worth. So this is one of my favorite invitations to the divine feminine way is, what if you could work less? What if you be more, impact more, even earn more, just by allowing yourself to recognize the beauty of who you are, the potential, the unique contribution that you came to make. So, and then the last that I listed here is taking care of everyone else's needs. And this is a great, that's kind of the way we women are wired. And it's so, so, so essential right now to recognize the imperative nature that we put ourselves first. We take, that self-love, that self-care, like now is the time. Prioritizing those two so that we can shine our supernova selves, so that when we go out to the world, we are actually even more for other people than we would have been had we been almost like trying to serve from that empty cup kind of a thing. So here comes the interactive part. I hope you all have a piece of paper and a pen. If you don't, go grab one. So, and again, this is a kind of practice that we've probably done time and time again, but here we are. So much has changed. It's time for us to get clear on what each of these things means to us, and just we'll write down some of the ways in which you'd like each of these components. What I'll do, this is going to be a journaling time, and I'll give you a minute on each one of these. I'm going to be speaking and kind of teasing out some questions to help you get some clarity on it. But I truly invite you to dream big. Like, I've got a magic wand. I'm handing it over to you right now. What if anything is possible in this moment? And I'm sure you probably experienced kind of miracles within these last few months, even though it didn't seem like it. Maybe there's some miracles that showed up in your life of, I'm going to pick on my sister. We got a special guest today, Diane Basil. So she took a big, amazing, bold move. She moved from Florida, where she'd lived for, I don't know, 20 some odd years, and retired. She retired and moved to Oklahoma, and she's got big dogs that she breeds, and she got, 20 acres of 19. She's got land in Oklahoma, a little farmhouse. It is the cutest thing. And for her to upend and create something, it's completely breaking from old cycles for her, and a whole new beginning that she's stepping into. And this coming from a person, Diane, would it be fair to say that you were not necessarily one who takes risks and and goes for change often? I was trying to open the... Okay, sorry, I had the chat window closed. Yes, great reminder of what we learned in the Femme Salon. Good, good, good. All right, I'm going to put this little window off to the side. All right, so we're going to begin here. Get your piece of paper out and just think about these statements. This is you time. This is, like I said, it's imperative that we get kind of selfish. And so the very first one I started with is, When you think about having a sense of self-love and self-care, what are you might do adjectives, you might do actions you would take for yourself, you might think of some things that you want to let go of in that regard. Also, think about your big, bold, beautiful life. Once you are that future self that is vibing high with that future life, what is she doing? My future self, man, is she confident, self-assured. She's well connected with herself. She has non-negotiable self-care practices. I already have my morning sanctuary, but yeah, that is paramount. So what kind of things would you be doing for yourself? What's the self-talk you would have about loving yourself, that self-care? Maybe some things that you've done before that we've kind of lost touch with that we want to revive. So what does the sense of self-love and self-care look like? Next, we're moving on to our best friend, our body. So what does your body look like when you are this big, bold, beautiful you? Let's call it beautiful you. Your body, what kind of relationship do you have with your body? For me, my future self is it's a trusted guide. I know that I'm always healthy and vibrant every day. My body is alive. It serves me well. It's actually a source of intuitive guidance as well. You know, like we were talking when we're making choices, what feels light. My body is my trusted friend in that regard. What does health mean to you? Are there some things that you might want to let go of? Are there some practices? You know what? And I'm going to dedicate to, well, wintertime's coming up. What are some things that we can dedicate to? It's going to be challenging with the added darkness. How are you going to move your body? What foods, what kind of eating plan do you like to keep you vibrantly alive? Awesome. So moving on to the emotional and spiritual aspects. What is well-being emotionally? Are there some negative Nellies in your life that maybe you want to start pruning? We don't have to cut them out of our life, but maybe we cut their space down a little bit more so that it makes space. Maybe that's the way in which we're thinking of this, is clearing space, because when you let go of all the negativity, that's actually taking space in our psyche and our heart space, making space for the new friends to come in. From a spiritual aspect, what brings well-being? Are you grounded in faith? Do you have trust that everything is working out? Do you feel like the world's a safe place to even be? If not, what would it take to regain that bit of safety? Next, we get to move on to play and adventure. And I don't know about you, but my summertime has been a little dull when you compare to where I'd like it to be. So when you are the world is our oyster in this time together. So if you could play, if you could adventure anywhere, maybe you want to make a list of some of the places are on your bucket list. This year I was hoping to do a bicycle trip to Italy. More play. Joan has gone on some of my favorite adventures, Moab, Salida. We've got beautiful places just right here in the hood. Would you travel more? As far as play, would you get together with girls more? Would you maybe get back to playing an old sport? When's the last time you played pickleball? I never have, but maybe I should. When we think in terms of creativity and passion, Do you like to paint? How do you express creativity? The holidays are coming up. Are there some crafts that you might like to do now that we've all got a little more time on our hands? What does creativity look like to you? That future version of you? Are there some new pastimes? Is creativity actually a way of creating your business? Maybe it's creating connections. Maybe it's ways in which you play with the grandkids or kids. Or bypass the kids, go right to the grandkids. They're good at play. They're good at passion. Maybe think of those things that when you were a kid, what did you enjoy doing? Climbing trees. Me. I went out and climbed the tree yesterday while I was on a call. It was great. What are those things you would think of as passion? What brings your heart alive? Moving on again. And here's one of these elements that I always put into the key dimensions of creating wellness that I think is so often overlooked, but I'm hoping the pandemic has really reinforced the potency of having connection with others. So what does connection look like for you? Sometimes we get really clear on the contrast. So I know me, when the lockdown happened and all my friends were locking me out, it really took it to a whole nother level of how important friends, family, community are to me. So who are those people that you might like to stretch? Maybe there's some new friends. What if you could create your own invisible new friend? What would that mystery magical person look like? You know, do you want people who share your passion for your creative ventures, someone to paint with, somebody to the spiritual, you know, vibe, high vibe people to go with? Do you want, you know, mountain biking buddies? What is community? What communities are you missing? Missing my spiritual community at Mile High Church, you know. What other groups are really missing? Maybe the pandemic's helped you get clear on which groups you were hanging around with that maybe you just don't need to reconnect with once we start moving forward here, which begins today. And now getting juicy. Intimate love relationships. Some of us have love relationships. Some of us maybe forgot that we might even consider that in the possibilities. So what would it look like? If you had someone in your life, what would it look like? I think we all just really have this need to be seen, heard, and understood. So what does that guy look like that can hold that space for you? Open-hearted, somebody to connect with, enjoy the sweet nothings with. What physical attributes might he have? For those of you like Kim with a long-term love relationship already, maybe look back at the timeline. When were some of those juicy moments? When might have been when you first got together, might have been another time. So tap into those juicy moments and say, ooh, I'd like a little bit more of that, please. I can guarantee you he's on the other side thinking the same thing. Well, maybe he hasn't consciously thought about it, but I think our hearts yearn for that same thing, right? So onward. Now we get clear on some of those things we want to express. When we take our gifts out to the world, that's what I mean by this next one. What does your livelihood look like? And I recognize some of you are in retirement, but livelihood can be ways in which you're sharing gifts with others. So maybe you are a community person and want to create, bring some kind of community together. Maybe you want to start a painting circle or a book club or something like that. What do money flows look like? What would financial freedom look like and feel like? I know Joan on the calls doing residual income as a high priority and attracting that to her. So what an excellent, excellent intention. What would it look like to have multiple streams of income flowing in if you were free from having concerns about money? What would you do? How does that make your body feel when you think about being freed from the constraints of money concerns? Okay. And moving on, intellectual and personal growth. And to me, this is one I think that we can really focus on right now. I think Tony Robbins talks in terms of the 6 human needs. The first being for certainty, and we kind of touched on that a bit, like sourcing internally our sense of certainty. The second he talks about is the need for uncertainty, which is essentially the need for newness or personal growth or something new. So right now we're you may not be able to go and travel the way we like. Are there certain aspects about that travel that draws us that we can actually step into now? So if I want to go to Italy, can I get together with Joan? She's a great cook. And we can cook some Italian meals. Maybe we combine that with community and show some, she do picture shows for those who have been to Italy before, so that you can begin to get the juice of that, because just visiting the juice is something that can help to bring us alive, that feeling of aliveness, vibrancy. So in what ways would you like to stretch yourself? And then the last is getting back to that contribution. You all are amazing light beings, lots and lots of gifts. I know that for you. So in what ways do you contribute that back to others? It doesn't have to be in a big way. It can be just to the grandkids and realizing, you know what, I'm going to teach them a little bit more about the history, the family history, or teach them about my passion of finger painting. Something fun and new. I don't know. And let's see. Awesome. I'm going to stop the share for now. And I want to touch in with you guys. Does anyone want to chime in and just share a little something that you think might was a spark for you, or something that might be an inspiration for others? Jennifer, you're unmuted, so I'm going to go ahead and pick on you since you already are ready to come in live. Was there something fun that popped up that you'd really like to make a priority for yourself?
Well, my daughter and I are planning a trip to San Diego for Christmas, so I'm excited about that.
Yay!
Yeah.
And so
my daughter hasn't seen the ocean yet, so.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that encompasses a lot of it. And that's a super great example. When you think about the travel, like what is it about travel that brings that sense of aliveness up for you?
Well, for one thing, I'm not a snow person, so it'll be nice to get away from the snow and the cold, and I guess just being able to be in a different place and just I don't know, walk in the sand and listen to the water and the waves coming up on the shore, and it's such a freeing experience. And I would like to travel. Like I'd love to go to Europe too and see how other people live and their cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like to think of some of the adjectives that come up. So that sense, you mentioned the words freedom. And when you're talking about like toes in the sand kind of a thing, I think of peace, and that when we listen to the waves and how it just like gets you out of your head and just connects right to the heart space.
Yeah.
I like that. So I like to think of those elements and what we can do to bring those elements into our day today. So what little pieces of, freedom or peace or calm can you invite into your life today? So I invite you to go ahead and continue to expound upon some of the different places, get specific on the different places that you love to travel to. And at some point in time, we might do just a quickie version of this and pick some pictures and do a visual vision board. And it's cool these days because you can do it so quickly. I just discovered on Canva that you can pick pictures together and use one of their templates and drop the pictures in place. Like, where are the top 5 places that you would travel to, and get pictures of those. So our brains are actually wired to get excited about moving towards something, a goal that's meaningful to us. Doesn't matter how quickly we're going there. It doesn't matter, for me, to go there this year, but it's like just knowing that we're moving forward to that, and how when you start putting that into your consciousness, we actually have a part of our brain called the reticular activating system that is a piece that's always, we get so much information, we can't possibly take it all in. So part of the reticular activating system is actually like the filter. We're going to filter out those things that are important. So when we tell the brain that certain things are important to us, like peace and calm, or Italy and Italian food, we're going to start seeing that everywhere. So you might have had this happen, like somebody buys they say they're going to get an orange Outback, and you're like, orange Outback, I've never seen such a thing. And then all of a sudden, because it's in your awareness, you start seeing them everywhere. Or somebody's pregnant, and my daughter's pregnant, all of a sudden you're seeing pregnant people everywhere, even though they were there all along. Now it's coming up to the awareness. So that's what we want to do, and get intentional about this. And that's why this kind of practice to do for yourself every now and again is so important, because it's saying, brain, okay, wake up here. I want to see things that match this vibration, this intention, this future outcome. So
So Kathy, what was the thing you mentioned about doing a vision board with? What was that?
So Canva, in fact, I can, so Canva is a free online, it's just canva.com. And it's an online, I don't know what you would call it, like graphic maker, if you will. So they've got a whole grouping of pictures and things like that. They've got different formats, so you can create a design, and they've got templates. So I use it a lot for like Facebook posts or Facebook covers. You can do like report covers and all kinds of different templates. But if you go through their templates, they've got ones that are sheets of paper, and it'll have like different picture sizes for like 10 or 12 different pictures. And so you can either choose from the pictures that they've got, or you can upload pictures, and it's so easy. You just drag and drop it over into the things. Yeah, you can use pictures from your phone too. So what you would do in that case, so whether you go use Canva on your phone, or put the picture onto your computer so that you can upload it from there. But yeah, that's super great. And what a great technique too, Diane, to take things like, Kim, I kind of saw you light up when we were talking about with your beloved. Think about a great time that you guys had together. Maybe you guys were walking hand in hand on the beach, some, Chatfield Beach, whatever, something that was super special to you, and put that picture on in the picture gathering, and it'll help to bring the vibration of that memory alive. So Diane, I can put the picture of all the sisters. We just had a sister reunion. Since she just moved into her place in Oklahoma, she's kind of like in the hood versus being in Florida. So we got together and had a sister reunion. So being connected is absolutely one of my high priorities, and something I want to have more of. So you can do a combination of pictures that you want to step into. I've got a picture that I found in a magazine. It's funny because it's probably 3 years old. I don't know what it is about this girl. She's just standing there like this, and she's got this big radiance on her face, and it just captures the essence of that bold, like, but open, down to earth, but bold, self-assured, and well-directed kind of person. I just love it. And I look at it all the time to say, okay, is it time to let this one go? And she still really resonates for me. So I'm doing that. You can also, Joan, put words on there. So I'll show you. Well, I guess I don't have it up here, but like I've got some words that I'm really thinking about, of one that I think is important for us right now that I've got cut out is own it, own it. So pick that vibration, or pick, how do you want to be like at work? Do you want to be seen as a leader? Do you want to be seen as a great mentor? So own it, pick it, own it, like putting on the coat. I'm having that. And you know what'd be fun? We can do this together. Let's do another one of these. And what I can do is create an online folder, like a Google Doc folder, and we can all drop, if we come with some pictures that have been attractive to us, because many of us might want to travel to, I'm going to keep picking on me because I want to go to Italy, apparently. And Joan, oh my gosh, has some gorgeous pictures. She can contribute as far as that. But wouldn't it be fun if we all kind of said, okay, here's some of my intentions, and maybe we can put that out in advance of, and that was one of the things that always kind of troubled me about doing the vision board just with magazines. It's like, well, I've got an intention, but I don't see the picture. So I don't want my future to be dictated by the pictures that are available, but which is cool, because when you do it on the computer, you can literally go to Google and say, walking down the beach hand in hand on San Diego Beach or Huntington Beach, and you'll get these pictures, lots of pictures to choose from, and you get a wide variety that you can capture the one that seems to capture the essence for you better than the one that, okay, I found this girl, she's kind of, she's got big red lipstick on, I don't quite relate to, whatever, so it's fun. So yeah, I think that would be a good practice. Does anybody else have anything fun that you'd like to share? Kim, go ahead.
There we go. So you referenced that I have a long time marriage, which I'm grateful for, and I love my husband, and he's an unusual character. And I just recently found out that one of the things he loved about me when we met was that I was independent, and that I did a lot of things in nature and belonged to different organizations like the Colorado Mountain Club. And when I got married, I stopped all that. I just assumed we would do it together. Well, that was ridiculous. That was not his assumption at all. And so, yeah, we've been married 39 years, and I just found this out. So, so it made me realize, oh, all the things I've been waiting to do, or even just waiting to do more often, waiting for when he's ready to do it. Well, how long am I going to wait, for goodness sakes? So I realized there's a program about that, about women doing things on their own. Like, ooh, is it really safe for a woman to camp on her own, drive across the country on her own? Well, yes, it is, if you believe it so, and you're not foolish and you tune in.
Yeah.
So for my birthday, I gifted myself just a little road trip, but it took all day. I went to Buena Vista. I went to some of the lakes and reservoirs around there and between there and Leadville, and then home. So it was just a little bit of independence. But as I'm working through all this journaling, I realize my future self can't have any of this if I'm going to be tethered to anyone waiting to do it with them. Like, it's time to step out, be independent. I could go skiing on my own. There's I can drive a car in the winter. I live in the mountains. Like, what? But we just fall into these patterns of expectation about women, which, yeah, now I'm blowing it up. So there you go.
Yeah, I love that. And so much of a trap that I fall into in relationship is I show up the way I think the other person needs me to show up. And it's like, that never was their idea. I made that up for them. There's a great saying too about that. I'll have to just dig that one up, is that we don't show up the way we are. We show up the way we think other people require us to be. But I really like too the words that you used about what are we waiting for? So that's another great question to flesh out. Like, what have you been waiting to do until the time is right? And yeah, that right time, it can be a killer. Dream killer. Awesome. Diane, you made the mistake of putting your hand on your face. I'm going to call on you. Like the auction, and you actually brush your hair. I'm going to.
I know, I actually got my clothes on. I just have, since the COVID started, was started a relationship with a guy that I met on Bumble. And he brings some gifts to me. And, he's helped me learn contrast as everyone does. I too had a long-term marriage of 30 years, but been single now for, I don't know, 10 years. And so I've had a number of relationships. Anyway, this guy is, he brings the passion part, which is beautiful, but he harbors a lot of negativity. And when you say release people who are negative, I just have been able to be really authentically honest with him and tell him, I just can't be around negativity. I can't, because it just brings me down. It takes my vibration down. He doesn't understand that. I told him this morning I was going to be with my girlfriends. I mean, when people just don't get it, they don't get it. We're not going to get them to get it. Yeah. And so anyway, I feel good about lovingly just kind of telling him that it's, it's been really great, but we can just be friends. And, I'm going to pursue something else for the long term to protect my heart and to continue to take myself into growth. And that has been a big piece of what I'm working on.
Yay. Well, I think we should all celebrate. It's happening for you, Diane. Yay. There's so many powerful pieces in that for all of us of just recognizing that, the moment you draw the line in the sand for yourself, it's like the universe and all your energetic assistants are going to work to deliver you that which you just declared that you're going to have. So it's happening. It's coming to you just by nature of declaring, as of today, I'm choosing that. I'm choosing that, and I'll have that. So it's pretty good. Another thing is that, we'll never outperform our self-image. So what you just declared there is I'm worth having somebody who is a contribution and somebody's positive and fun and makes, is a playmate, is a partner in that for me. So very good. Very good. I love the shares. Does anybody else want to chime in with anything?
Hi, this is Dottie.
Hi, Dottie.
Hi, and I was invited here by Joan, and
Hi.
this comes at a perfect time for me in my life, just because I am in the middle of transition. So, I mean, I could probably comment on every one of those points on that last slide. That I have about 4 action items now. So you got me with a lot of homework. But one that Joan and I have been talking about a little bit was connecting with friends. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to make the first step. Inviting somebody out or go for a bike ride or, just be included in a group. So we're working on it. I know we talked about it, and we've recently reconnected again. And then I just started practicing it this week. And it's just was really delightful because there are many people out there that are single in their homes, and nighttime is a scary time. So just inviting people over for safe distancing, a meal out in the backyard. I mean, my friends, I only had 2 people over, and they were like so grateful that I invited them. So that's what I'm working on, I think, the most right now.
And when you do it again, there might be 9 more people that are interested in coming.
I know, and it's important to make the first step too. Sometimes I feel like I'm waiting for the invitation, and I get my feelings hurt because I'm not invited. Well, why don't I just make an invitation? And sometimes I don't because I'm afraid of rejection. Like what I planned wasn't what they wanted to do, or they say yes and then they say no at the last minute. But I'm making an effort.
Yay! So it's happening. And what great points you brought in. You said again about the waiting part. Like, what are we, are we waiting for to be invited to? And, it really is. We do fear rejection in that way, but the people who did come were just the right ones that were ready to do that at that time. So, I love the Don Miguel Ruiz with the 4 agreements of when it's so important not to take things personally. They're at, and I think it's so easy to recognize that right now, like everybody's at where they're at. So we're not necessarily in a space to necessarily change that, but we can kind of put on the party and the ones that are feeling like coming out can come out, and the ones that want to on that night. Maybe they will next time. Maybe, and if they don't, then maybe they're not your people anyway. So you want the ones that are heading in the direction. So good for you for stepping out. Stepping out. Feels good, huh? What?
Right.
Yeah. So what did it feel like after the night was over and you could barely get people to leave?
It felt great because we all planned on another adventure together.
Very cool.
It was really nice. And it just the four of us. It wasn't a big group. And I feel that the smaller groups, you get a chance to get to know people
Yeah.
closer and a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's actually what I've been doing through this time is doing smaller gatherings just for dinner. And I don't even care to go to a restaurant because I want to be able to hear people and not be distracted. But that's a great way and checks a lot of those blocks, the connection and the creativity for even just making the meal and good. Living, laughing.
Oh, sorry.
Sounds like Gina, do you have a share? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Kind of along those same lines. I guess one of my focuses is looking to see how I can meet my needs, and I guess it's self-care, but also empowerment. Like recently, I had an experience that was really difficult for me. I got some really challenging feedback from a group that I've been involved in. And so I was feeling, I mean, it was good feedback, but it was, something I was really taking a hard look at myself and going, okay, is this accurate? And, what am I going to do with this information? And feeling somewhat untethered and unwanted. And when I get like that, I tend to feel unlovable. And then something happened with my sister, who I see quite a bit, and just really exacerbated those feelings. And I I spent a couple days, really uncomfortable days, just really sitting with it and identifying, okay, what do I really feel? Unwanted and unlovable. And so, is it because of this outside stuff? Well, yeah, those are valid feelings to sit with, but also how can I do that for myself? What do I need to do right now to give myself the love and the feeling of being wanted that I'm looking for in other people? And it turns out I had to check out for like a day and a half, just burning through a trashy novel to just kind of get my mind off of it. And I don't know, I just needed to check out and really, nurture myself. And of course, the inner mean girl keeps coming in and saying, oh, you should be doing something and blah, blah, blah. And then I go, okay, no, I decided I was going to do exactly what nurtures me right now. And then after I did that, I was able to have a talk with my sister and with myself and just kind of really clarify, I don't know really where it's coming from, but what can I do to fill myself up? And like you said, not take things personally, and I guess take responsibility and empower myself to love myself and fill myself up. So that was pretty huge. And I want more of that.
Yay. And I love how you spent the time to get clear on what the emotions are. And again, another little Tony Robbins-ism is, what do you make that mean? So that was a teetering point for you to potentially extend that to mean like, oh, they don't want me, so our underlying belief is I'm not lovable enough. And by the way, that's one of the top 3. So I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, and I'm not deserving. So you're right in there with with the rest of the world. So what are we making unlovable? I'm not lovable mean? Are we making it mean I'll never find a true love relationship? Am I never going to find my girl posse to run with? Am I never going to have long time friends? And it's fascinating to me how many women, especially this age, because we've been catering to a lot of other roles, which we needed to serve at that point in time, that we really don't have a strong foundation of how to come back together again with open-heartedly with women, without that fear of the backstabbing or the talking about each other. It's like, how do we cultivate these circles where you can just completely be you, and you can show up like a shithead sometime, and somebody can call you to the carpet on it, like that was unkind. Doesn't mean that we're throwing you out and you're unwanted and now you're excommunicated. So are we making, okay, I was snippy and they didn't like that to mean like, uh-oh, I'm booted out from the girl club, So good. That's a super great example.
Right. And forgiving yourself for that too. Like, oh, that was crass or, insensitive or whatever. And I feel like, if I'm going to forgive other people for being, insensitive, then I can forgive myself for that too. Actually, I think it happens in reverse order. Forgive myself for it, and then it's easier to forgive other people for it.
Yeah. And I know, and we've talked about Ho'oponopono, if you guys aren't familiar with the Hawaiian practice, but it's such a great one because it allows us to focus ourselves. Like you said, the very first step is to forgive ourselves for everywhere we got caught up in that mindset or that circumstance that led to that. You forgive the other person, and then you forgive the whole circumstance together. So super great, Gina. And then that contrast helps you to get clear on what it is, like what's the nature of the friendship now that I'm choosing to step into. And you might find that it was there all along. Here you were with a defense of, oh no, what if they sometime see how ugly I can be and they don't want me? It's like, oh wait, they weren't going there, but I was.
Right. And that I'm allowed to have boundaries about who I let into the inner circle of my life, and is that realistic and I guess appropriate? And yes, I am allowed to have boundaries and expectations and I guess requirements. And yeah, people are going to screw up, but I'm still allowed to have that. I don't just have to accept anybody in who will, accept me. And so that felt really good too. And to have a conversation and be able to articulate that and kind of stand up for that. And that helped me get really clear on what I want in my life too.
Yeah. And again, once you draw that line in the sand for yourself, the universe is like, okay, she's up leveling. Now we got to find some new playmates. And then to combine a little of Dottie's point of, and then you get to take the next step. Like, what can you do to create that? Are you going to have a little wine and cheese party over, for the community girls, or, what does that look like?
Yeah, I actually did that yesterday with a new friend that I met on the trail. And so, yeah, once you're right. Once you open that up, then it comes in and you can step into that. And that feels great.
Yeah. You know me, questions always, what would it, what if it could turn out even better than you can possibly even imagine? Like, we can't possibly figure it out, but when we come from that heart space, put that intention out there, it's like, okay, connects to the God's spark that created everything. So it's got infinite possibilities to create exactly what it is that we're asking for. So I know you've seen that for yourself. You've manifested some pretty mighty things awfully quickly.
It's true. Thank you.
And it's happening still.
It is. Yep, I'm ready.
And it's interesting because sometimes, we have different makeups. Like, I am what's called a sprinter. So I can create fast, and then I need that time to slow down and maybe do nothing, recalibrate, take the time to celebrate and appreciate. But it looks like nothing's happening on the outside. And then I'll sprint again. Other people are constant, like, I'm manifesting this and this, I've got a friend that every single freaking day, she's productivity hound. She's highly attuned, to her spiritual self. She's Abraham Hicks out the wazoo. I think she's got Abraham Hicks underwear, but she creates from a different space than I do. So part of it is just acknowledging ourselves for, what is your personal rhythm, and that's okay. So anyways, I'm wondering what my next slide was. Dun, da, da, da. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen here again. I'll find the right. Sure. So this is one of the things. Current slide. Yep. So you can actually take this and put a positive statement from each of those aspects of your life and write a power statement about it. This is one that I wrote. It's kind of for myself. It's also for La Femme Salon, and create your manifesto. It's a powerful declaration of how you want to show up. So for me, it's about owning true value and worthiness. Actually, this is what I wrote for the program I'm inviting people to step into. Prioritize yourself and practice radical self-care. Honor your cravings and eat with gusto. Feel confident and vibrantly alive in your body. Get in the divine feminine flow with gratitude, ease, and joy. Work less and earn even more. Dive into adventure and travel. Love your freedom and creative expression. Release everything that no longer serves you. Dream big and follow your passion. Find your fulfillment. Surround yourself with supportive soul sister friends. Get flirty and fun in romance. Create serenity and spaciousness, living fully in the now. And I can't see what the bottom one is. Live life fully, I think. But I did this with every aspect in my life, and I included my business in it. That's just one power statement. And what I did, I believe strongly in the power of intention, and especially the morning time as a great time to reinforce your vision. So I took a power statement. I've got like 8 statements that are similar to this. Mine went a little bit more into my business and things that how that's unfolding. Like my future self is already celebrating this, and I keep it in the bathroom. In the morning, I state out loud in the mirror, looking myself in the mirror, each one 3 times. And it just really helps to ingrain this into, it's like patterning your brain into the positivity rather than it being at the effect of the negativity that's around us. That's so easy to slip into. So highly recommend that kind of practice. Or another way you can think about it is like, what are all those old things? And what a great time. Don't let a good pandemic go to waste. Like, what are all those things that now you recognize are just the non-essentials? I'm ready to get over this. Like I used to be busy, or I used to procrastinate, or I used to not allow myself the time to read the trashy novel. Thank you, Gina, for giving me permission. So that now I can get on with, honoring my natural nature, my rhythm. I can spend, I like Dottie's, keep coming back to that, of creating this space, let her be the one to initiate the gathering, the girlfriend gatherings, but it's just a super powerful thing to do, as you've already kind of got some of those keys, things kind of outlined for yourself, and step into that. Have to say that now more than ever, with all the negativity out there, it's super important to surround yourself, create the infrastructure, if you will, to plug in with the positive vibration all you can. So there's practices you can do for yourself. We're also, you become the vibration of the 5 people that you hang around with most. So it's a time for you to get super clear on who are those people or who are the new people that you want to be hanging out with, that are going to support yourself with. And that's one of the best things. This is one of the best all-time quotes ever, I believe. Marianne Williamson, and it's so oftentimes quoted, but they only use the first paragraph. And this whole chapter, I think this whole page is so powerful, from her book, A Return to Love. And I do believe that that's what we're being called to right now. This, how can you stand with your heart wide open, with unconditional love regardless of what's happening around us. And so I just wanted to read through this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that's within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, powerful part, ladies, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And I believe this last sentence truly is the cornerstone. It's time for us to let our light shine. It's within all of us. We all have that God spark within. We've all been filling roles that we felt like up until now. We don't have to go to judgment. We don't need to try to figure out why, who, what, the players were. Just come to this point of realization that right now that no longer serves me. Those old storylines that I was playing into, the roles. I love Kim's example of, she thought, her husband was going to join her for all those things that she was up to, and then realizing, oh, wait a second. So starting today, she's like, well, that wasn't, that doesn't work for either one of us. So the new storyline is, I'm going on a road trip. That, and again, I think you got 9 ladies here that would be open and willing anytime to go on a road trip with you. So maybe that needs to be part of our outings. But it's so important for us to give ourselves permission. And women oftentimes are waiting for permission from outside. So I should make up a little permission slip because I want to hand it to you right now. So here it is. You have permission to read the trashy novel, to go on the road trip, to initiate the girls gathering, to do whatever is self-care, self-nurturing for you, to move to Oklahoma if that's what sparks your heart, sparks your heart. Do what brings you fully alive, because what the world needs now is people who have come fully alive. And so in ending, this is a great touchstone for crazy times like this, is the serenity prayer. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, wisdom to know the difference. But back to the beginning, when I was talking about the supernova, I had to rewrite this. So serenity, courage, and the wisdom to know you're a fucking supernova, and you're not here to fit into society's rules. You are here to create a new one. So you are the captain of your life. You are the supernova. Shine your light, think big, surround yourself with people that are going to uphold that vision for you. They're going to see you even when you can't see it for yourself, to step through into those bigger things that you came to be. And my final thing, so we sometimes wonder, who am I to make a difference? And let's see, Greta Thunberg to me is such an inspiration in this. No one is too small to make a difference. Everyone can do something. If everyone did something, then huge differences can happen. So talk about unlikely heroes. What piece of you could be the unlikely hero in your own life and in the life of someone else? And that's truly all I believe that we need to do. I also want to invite you one other thing. So when you are doing your own gratitude practice or self-love practice or whatever, I do believe that we're all interconnected. And they say, like the energy people say, that when you do a clearing or when you set an intention, you can include an impact, like the butterfly theory, up to 300,000 other people. So I think something critical right now is for us to include that in our intention when we're doing that work for ourselves. Broaden the circle to include 300,000 other people and begin to make the small difference that each one of us has within us already to make. So it's not just about us anymore. It's so important to recognize that we are all interconnected. So what the masks symbolize right now is that we're not masking to separate. We're actually masking to honor one another with safety, if that's what safety and security is for one another. But we also get to pull that mask off. What masks have we been wearing up until now that maybe it worked for up until now, and it doesn't fit the picture of who we're stepping in to be next. So feel free to step into being you. You are here to make a difference. Your being makes more of a difference than you're recognizing. And once again, I think that's so imperative again for us to surround ourselves, especially with women, the soul sister friends that can mirror that back for us, because oftentimes we don't recognize that for ourselves. It's more important than ever to be connected. And rise, sister, rise. So in that, I have a program. Anyone who feels like they're ready to take this kind of support and insight and things forward into their life, it's a 10-week program I run called La Femme Salon. It's 10 weeks to find your freedom, fire, and fulfillment. We take these concepts, we stretch them out, blow them out, get all the juicy details of what it is that you want in your life. We explore all those crazy things you thought was your private deficiency and recognize, you know what? We've all been operating in one way or another from those same things. We rewrite the storylines into more empowering, those manifestos, reinforce those rituals. We explore every aspect of our lives and form an amazing sisterhood that has your back through all these crazy times, these times when you're trying to expand out and you're being pulled back. It's an opportunity in this sacred space to come together with women who truly have your back. Sometimes it's people feeling that they can trust one another for the first time, and to see our heart spaces expand through this. It's been a great joy for me to create, and I would welcome a conversation with anyone who might feel called to step into this a little bit more so for themselves. Oh, Joan wrote in a little, and if you want to, do you want to say that, or you want me to read what you wrote? Although I love the road trip one too.
I think that everyone can see it, but Gina commented, I commented on the program, but yeah, so but if you want to, I don't know if people didn't see it, all of the chat.
Well, just it propelled me in a new direction, and I think that is true for a lot of people. I mean, look at Kelly, who came in and she had no clue of what it was that she was asking for next in her life. She just knew that she had some kids that had moved in, and she wanted to get out from under that. So there were some roles that had become pretty heavy in her life that she wanted to get out from under. She created this new goal to move someplace new, and every weekend is an adventure. I just love seeing her Facebook posts. It's fun. We've got people who found the love of their lives. We've had new directions taken. We've had new homes. Gina's living by the water.
Yeah, that program was amazing. It changed my life in so many ways, changed my mindset. I mean, I fell in love with myself. I did not think that was possible. Let go of some addiction issues, health issues. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And I'm doing it again.
Yeah. And, just like this kind of stuff, like these questions, this kind of process that we just went through for ourselves today, a lot of this stuff is nothing new. And again, I come from the space of, you already have all the information. You guys are well traveled in this world, so you've got lots of tools and stuff like that. It's a reminder. And now from where we are today, how do we revisit these same practices that we've done before and have a fresh perspective? It's going to take you, it's almost like a spiral of evolution for your life and who you came to be. From this perspective today, what do these things mean? And now that I can see, oh wow, I'm feeling more confident and more expanded, and I am creating those, taking the first steps. What can you create today from where you are now? So anyways, I applaud you all for taking the time this Saturday morning when you could be doing lots of other things to set aside 90 minutes to connect with that future self, to get clear on what it is. And hey, to get the universe working on your side, man, I stay in touch. I'd love to see what things might pop up for you from this, even if it's just clarity for now. I'm going to turn off the recording if I can find the button. Stop.